We have with us today Mr. Shashi Shekhar Vempati, CEO of Prasarbharati, and he happens to be the first non-bureaucrat CEO of India's public broadcaster since 2017. And Shashi is also known as the digital man of India. So he's a very digital guy. So that's why I'm excited to have him here today to see what he's saying about a broadcaster. He's heading a broadcaster, okay? So he's seeing the transformation of the twin networks of Doordarshan, comprising more than 35 TV channels and 400 All India radio stations. And India is a very big country, of course. So he serves on the board of the Indian Broadcasting Foundation, IBF, and the Broadcast Audience Research, BARC, apart from the Indian Council for World Affairs and the Public Service Broadcasting Trust. So he's an author, he's a columnist, and so she has published on politics, public policy, and emerging areas of technology like AI and broadcast broadband conversions. So he's an innovator and he holds patents in the area of real-time event management within wireless census networks. So we have a guy here who is a digital man. Shashi, the floor is yours. We're waiting to see what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Philomena. Very excited and glad to be here. I think this is my first time at an AIBD event. So thanks for the invitation. And it's also doubly special that my colleague Mayank just took over as the president of the General Council of AIBD. So very happy that I've debuted on an AIBD event just at the moment that he took over. I would like to begin with paying tribute to all the media persons who have both in here in India within our network. In fact, we've lost more than 100 of our colleagues to COVID-19. I'm sure media persons across the globe, various countries who've been working tirelessly to bring timely information and awareness over COVID-19 perhaps have been exposed to the virus and have perhaps some of them have lost their lives. So I just wanted to take a moment to pay a tribute to all of them. And I think just like every other frontline worker or a professional who's been at the forefront of fighting this pandemic, I think media persons have played a very crucial role in creating awareness, dispelling the myths, dispelling the fake news. And getting the right information out there, and so their contribution is no less than anybody else. So I think it's important that we all remember all of our colleagues who have played a very crucial role during this very challenging time. Can we have the presentation on, please? Thank you. So I think when I saw this topic and how did broadcast media rise to the challenge, especially in this environment and these challenging circumstances, one of the first things that struck to me when I look back at the last 12 months or 14 months is how everyone is talking about this phrase called the new normal. And the new normal has become a buzzword, a catchphrase, and perhaps even a cliche. But the reality is that several old things came to the rescue, and old media especially came to the rescue when there was complete paralysis. Last year, towards the end of March, India went into a nationwide lockdown, a very unprecedented set of circumstances that nobody had anticipated they would see in their lifetime. And that was a moment where the public media had no break, no lockdown. We were working 24/7. So while the entire planet, entire country took a pause, we were there 24/7. And because of the COVID-19 restrictions and constraints, most production, most content generation came to a standstill in the private industry. And that was a moment where citizens looked forward to the twin networks of Doordarshan, All India Radio, with great anticipation, great expectations, and they were not disappointed because we had this unique phenomenon where our television ratings hit an all-time high across the industry, and this is unprecedented. That those 3 months you had tremendous television viewing because entire families were at home during the lockdown. India, as you know, has a rich and ancient culture and tradition of culture. So some of the epics like the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, which had been televised many decades back, came back on TV. And for the first time, a whole generation got to watch it on television along with their families. And that just created a tremendous viewership phenomenon with some of the episodes of Ramayana actually hitting an all-time global high in terms of television viewership. But to me, what was more interesting than the statistics is how families came together. Because one of the phenomenon that we've seen in the last few years, especially with digital, is the fragmentation of the viewership down to an individual where, when I was growing up, the entire family got around the television during dinner. But now you see, my son is on his iPad, my wife is on her iPad, or everybody is on their own devices. So that family viewing just went away with the advent of digital. But what we saw during the lockdown was families came back together, and there was also a very curious phenomenon where families were not just watching these epics together, they were also sharing it on social media, their experience. And that I think was something that didn't happen 2 decades back when these epics originally aired, because there was no social media back then. So you have this collective viewing experience, and that was a tremendous confidence booster to the country as it came out of the lockdown and the first wave of COVID-19 in India. One of the greatest challenges during that period was on how to get the message out, because the virus, what we knew of the virus, our understanding, our knowledge of the virus was changing. What precautions to take were fast changing, because initially it was about washing your hands with soap and not touching surfaces. Then it became about maintaining social distance. Then it became about wearing masks. And then our own understanding of how it was being transmitted itself has evolved from droplets to airborne transmission and so on. So getting this messaging across was a huge challenge, because as you know, India is a very diverse country, several languages, 23 plus official languages, hundreds of dialects. So to get the social messaging in this dynamic environment to a diversity of communities was a great challenge. And I think that is where the public broadcaster really came through. And it was also reflected in the data that the greatest investment in social messaging during this period was actually by the public broadcaster. The second biggest effort, and I think every country has, my colleagues from Bangladesh, Indonesia spoke about it as well. Perhaps every country has had to go through this, was how to keep education going. Because it was not just enough to say, you have online education, because there is huge diversity, disparity in terms of access to internet, access to high-speed internet, availability of multiple devices. Because if you're talking of a home with 2 or 3 kids, how do you get each of them a device to have their own online classes, right? So this is where broadcast media played a huge role with TV and radio. We in India were blessed with a very unique platform, because our path from terrestrial television was something different, unlike most other nations which have gone from analog terrestrial to digital terrestrial. We took a completely different path, where from analog terrestrial, we have gone to a free-to-air across the country, direct-to-home satellite platform. Now, the benefit of having such a free-to-air, direct-to-home satellite platform was that it had a nationwide reach. Now, the latest figures are about 40 million households. Its geographical spread was the entire landmass. Again, you're not restricted by the terrestrials limitations there. And more importantly, the number of TV channels. So we have 50 plus dedicated channels for education. So all of them were put to use. Our own 20 plus Doordarshan channels, which do general entertainment and news through the day, were also repurposed for education. So you had more than 70 TV channels broadcasting educational content to address the needs of the different parts of the country, because you have different languages, different curriculum. So that entire diversity had to be supported by this platform, and we were very lucky that this platform was there and came very handy for us. Similarly, on the radio side, educational programs on radio, again, in remote areas have continued to be delivered. In fact, just last week, in Jammu Kashmir, we have been airing classes using radio, and I was just looking at the figures. That is, three to 4 million students are benefiting from that. So old media in the new normal was a lifesaver. I think that's an understatement, because it was there when everything stopped, and it continued to be there when everything got back on track. And including most recently during the second surge, which was very severe, exponential growth in cases, almost a paralyzing effect across the country. And during this time, Doordarshan ran a campaign on the importance of masking up. So we had just below our channel logos on every TV screen, we would put a logo of why you need to mask up. And even our anchors and reporters went on air with masks, so that not only for their own safety, but to underline the important message that why it is important to wear the mask. So all of these efforts were put, and more importantly, because the second surge happened so fast, it was very important to get the right kind of medical advice. And so we've been running hours of live programming with expert doctors, taking questions from viewers and responding to them and clarifying the myths and the misconceptions, getting the right message across. Because just a simple thing, for example, like proning was a huge lifesaver, because it just would allow so many to recover at home without putting pressure on the oxygen demand. So things like these, I think, have made a big difference, advising people on what drugs not to take, because again, there's so much of misinformation out there. So these doctor interactions played a huge role. More importantly, because what we have seen during the second surge is a lot of families having multiple fatalities, and the mental health implications, especially with children, were immense. So we had special programming around that as well. So the public broadcaster has been playing multiple roles, not just entertaining, not just educating, but being there to hold hands and to give relief and play a healing touch role. And all of this was possible because of technology. And we were lucky that, because when I joined this organization in 2017 from the IT digital world, I was surprised that everything was paper-based. We was completely manual. And in the last 3 years, we have taken so many steps to be IT-enabled, automated, and to embrace digital tools, that it came handy during this pandemic situation. Because had we not taken those measures, it would have been impossible for us to function in in this environment with these challenges. So information technology was a very, very crucial factor in coping with the challenges, the constraints posed by the pandemic. One of the key things that when I look at the entire phenomenon over the last few months, weeks, how media has played a role, I think a very important aspect which emerges to me is that whether it is the old normal or new normal, there are certain values, and those values have to prevail. Public service media, I think, has shown that. And to further elaborate on what I mean by this, we've often seen that media tends to focus on the sensational aspects of what is happening. And this phenomenon has gotten even worse with the advent of digital and what is commonly referred to as clickbait journalism. So you have an extreme sort of headline, an extreme sort of an image, or an extreme sort of a video, because that will gather eyeballs, that will get shared, it will go viral, and so on. But unfortunately, that phenomenon has exacerbated the problem during this whole pandemic rather than providing solution. I think this is where public service media has always played a very different, distinctive role. That to public service media, it is not about only focusing on the problems, but it is about being a part of the solution, finding a solution and enabling solutions. Because it is very easy to find problems. And when you have a country as large as India, billion plus people, and democratic accountability, not only will you find every problem that is possible in the universe, but you will also find enough critical voices. But so media has to make a choice, right? Do you focus on those extremities, or do you become an enabler for finding solutions, creating a positive environment, so we all collectively come out of this challenge for the greater good? I think this is where it was a little distressing that some of the global public service media who have an international presence, I think fell short in their haste to perhaps attract more eyeballs, more traffic. They, I think, fell into this trap of clickbait journalism, and it's very unfortunate that such reputed institutions, have exaggerated and reported in a manner which I think is not consistent with the values that their own, public service media holds when they're at home, when they're reporting at home. So I think that's a message that I just want to leave out there, and perhaps a topic of discussion as well, broader discussion on should media focus only on the problems, or should media become an enabler for solutions?